One, two, three, four. Sex and drugs and rock and roll. All the fucking yeah. All that shit.
Hello and welcome to the Last Chance podcast. I am joined by Alex and Ben from Bad Dreams. Good afternoon.
Sex and drugs and rock and roll.
Sex and drugs and rock and roll. How's it going? You're just living the sex and drugs and rock and roll at the moment?
Oh, like you wouldn't believe.
So heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good
Two
thing,
kids
isn't
at
it?
home. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got the sex part worked out.
Yeah, that's true.
And the drugs and the
Fair.
rock and roll. Yeah, perfectly. How are you doing?
Very well. Release day. So
Yeah.
just relieved.
Thank you for joining us on the day that you've released your brand new album. Hoo-ha! Can I ask first thing, is that from the Robert De Niro movie Scent of a Woman?
Well, it was certainly, that wasn't where it came from, but it certainly reinforced the title. And there's also this guy from Adelaide called Albert Ben Simon, who was in the 90s, how the practice was if you owned the business, you'd be in the ad like Franco Cossos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he owned a jewellery business. Was it Shields or Zamers?
Shields, I think.
Shields. And his catchcry was, "Come to Shields, no hoo-ha."
No hoo-ha.
Yeah.
And they used the Robert Palmer like aesthetic or pastiche.
Simply
Simply irresistible with like
No
an axe
hoo-ha.
swing at the end.
Really?
No hoo-ha.
I miss local ads.
They're great.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Frank Walker from National Tiles is holding it down.
There's if you're interested in those throwback ads, there's hundreds of hours on YouTube. There's a guy from Adelaide, actually. He's compiled just like hundreds of hours of back-to-back old ads.
Adelaide ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think do you know what? Believe it or not, in lockdown, I watched one of these and I reignited my love of the Yummo, the Hungry
Yummo.
Jacks.
Oh, yeah.
Yumbo? Not the.
Not ringing a bell.
Probably before your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
before
was
my
like
time.
a terrible. It was a microwaved ham and cheese sandwich that Hungry Jacks did and only did in Adelaide.
It's amazing how ingrained those ads are in your psyche. Like,
Yeah.
they really take you back.
Well, I probably only saw the ad like twice in my life. And
Yeah.
I was like, as soon as it started, I went, shit, the Yumbo.
And they're the type of things when you're a kid, like you go to another city and it's not, oh, this is
Yeah.
this city's got an interesting museum. It's like, oh my, you should see that in Melbourne, like the man at the crossing, his knees like bent differently. Those things.
Yeah. It's things before everything became the same were so different. Like I think the one from my childhood was something for the Henty Field Days. And it had like the greatest theme song of all time. Yeah, you'll have to look it up and listen to it. But it's like if you start singing it, and anyone that grew up in regional New South Wales, like anywhere near the Riverina, will just turn around straight away and start singing it with you. It's terribly if you were the guy that wrote that and you were getting residuals from it, you would be fucking cheering because it got played constantly, like for 6 months out of the year.
I've always wanted to be a jingle writer.
Yeah.
Well,
There's money in
a
it.
great jingle that we actually had a dalliance with was the Hard Yakka one.
Oh yeah. Hard yakka.
Hard Yakka.
Oh yeah.
Hard Yakka.
What did you have? How did you have a dalliance with that?
Well, we did a thing where we recorded a kind of cover of it.
Yeah, right.
Because for Hard Yakka
For Hard Yakka.
and Thrills. Shout out. Corporate dollar whores.
Got to take that money, man.
Yeah. It's no shame these
Yeah.
days. Young Henrys. Cheers.
Dollar.
But the guy that wrote that
I can't remember.
He's a very famous jingle man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some friends that used to do it in the 90s.
Yeah. And this guy's jingles are, he's also he's made popular, he's made non-jingle songs as well, but that Hard Yakka song is a beast. It's
Yeah.
like real, it's heavy.
Yeah, quite dark.
Yeah.
The original ones are really dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, really?
Intense, yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Go look it up on YouTube.
Yeah. I remember I suppose it's like the VB ad.
Yeah, so that one sprung to mind as well.
Yeah.
He wrote that too.
No shit.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So he was a legit, just like genius.
Yeah, the big gun for hire, 80s, 90s jingle if you got the big dollars.
Mike Brady used to AFL what this guy used to hectic jingles.
Hectic jingles. Like, yeah, you want a song about AFL, I suppose you're going to Mike Brady.
Up there fucking Kazali.
Yeah. I was like, they've got an AFL football shop over at the market. And I was in there the other day, and I couldn't hear the guy because I'm up there Kazali. And it was just like, but I walked out and it was just stuck in my head.
If they come on in any capacity, you're not turning it off.
No, you're listening
They're
to
great
it.
songs.
Yeah. Do they still play them at the football?
Yeah, I think every year.
Yeah, right.
Every
grand final.
Every grand final.
Every grand
Brian
final.
Brady makes his adds it to his retirement. Yeah.
Fun. Yeah. Jesus. Imagine the money he would have made off that one song.
Crazy.
Yeah. You wonder where it all goes though. Like,
I mean, imagine making money off music. It's
hey, wouldn't that be great?
yeah.
So tell me about the new album. It's out today. I've listened to it virtually today. Look at that. That is beautiful.
Fake dead dog on the back. So there you go.
A fake dead dog.
Yeah, it's not real. We don't kill
Oh,
animals.
it's a lovely dog though. Oh, so that's who? Wow, that's an.
That was shot by
photo.
McLean Stevenson, a photographer from Sydney. Quite a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done all our album covers.
All the album covers.
He's done stuff he does stuff like Jack Ladder. He's done all of Donny Benet's work. Done some stuff for the Kieran Callanan, and he's a really good photographer, and he makes video clips too. Quite a strange man.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In what way?
Very dark energy.
Yeah.
Very
right.
dark.
Very
deep
intelligent.
energy. Very intelligent. He works. His day job is a lawyer, and initially he was dealing with. It's probably confidential, but I don't know. He's like working for the people that investigate police corruption, and then he was working for the
Jesus.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
can't be good for you. Like, but you know what really surprises me? How many fucking lawyers do some pretty twisted stuff with music?
Yeah.
There are lots of lawyers in music, aren't
There's
there?
lots
Yeah.
of lawyers in music and they kind of like fund the weirdest stuff. Like someone was telling me the other night that, you know, a lawyer friend of his like runs one of the biggest harsh noise records in the world.
Yeah.
From like, but his day job's a lawyer. And it's like, hold on, you know, like even like how many lawyers are in bands, and then you speak to them and go, you're a fucking lawyer? Like,
Yeah.
Like,
There's a lot of lawyers in bands, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't quite. I suppose you must get shit bored at work in the day and you're just like, fuck it.
And then you got some money to burn.
You got some money to burn.
Yeah,
Look, they earn good money.
I guess so.
Yeah. So instead of going out doing heaps of coke and being a
Well, they
dead
do
shit-
that too.
Well, they do that too. But they go and listen
Just at
to
music venues.
Music, yeah, exactly. No. So it was I listened to the album today, but like obviously it came out today. So it's fucking good. Like I'm not even blowing smoke up. Yeah.
I'm surprised, actually.
It's like really good. And I can't, when I listen to it, it's like a soundscape. Some of the noises in there are just fucking unreal. Like, did I hear a recorder?
It's a synthesized flute, yeah.
It's a synthesized flute.
Yeah.
That sounded unreal. Who
Dan
produced it?
Luscombe
Dan Luscombe.
and Andrew Idge Engineering at Sound Park. So they were.
Oh, you've recorded in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really like, when I say soundscape, it was really textured and really layered.
Yeah.
And-
Luscombe's a very, very good producer.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Probably underestimated somehow.
Yeah, I mean, when you see the albums he's done recently, you know, the Ladder Drones ones, Amel,
Yeah.
Courtney Barnett, yeah, but yes, some other there's others.
Jindabyne soundtrack.
Yeah, but like they're big, but then lots of people. He just doesn't get much airtime because he's a pretty humble man,
Yeah.
and also what I think his particular genius is he's not a heavy-handed producer. He
Right.
understands. I said yesterday he's got a Yoda thing going on
Yeah, right.
where he'll do very little,
Yeah.
but the effect of it is a lot.
A lot.
And the studio is so much about psychology. You know, you've got 4 or 5 fairly adult and crazy musicians in a band. You know, all of those dynamics. Everyone cares deeply about what they're doing, but the producers, one of their important roles is to channel that in the right direction. And this album was just so easy to record. You know, there were no real hiccups. Just did it. Went home each night. We had a little Airbnb. Me, Ben, and Ali played FIFA, or I watched them play FIFA. ate Uber Eats, went back in the next day and finished it in 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, with the soundscape, you mentioned the soundscape, it's kind of like when you work with someone like Luscombe as well, he's got such an encyclopedic knowledge of music, but because he is a musician, he knows immediately what is tasteful tone-wise.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to, you're not striving for something, he kind of just knows how to get it.
Yeah.
Because he's playing, like, is he still playing Paul Kelly's band?
He just plays with everyone all the
playing
time.
with everyone
Yeah.
all the time.
The
He
next
played with
thing
Augie
he's
March at the Anzac. He just plays.
the next thing he's
Yeah.
playing on, which is very exciting for a lot of people that are fans of this guy, but him and Jared Quarrell. Well, he's working with Jared Quarrell on the next Lost Animal project,
Yeah, right.
and they're playing together. So that's going to be pretty exciting. I mean, he's renowned as a great collaborator.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you did good collaboration.
Yeah, and
on
there's
this.
like we try to stick pretty much to the guitar bass drums thing, but the stuff that's added in, we were pretty happy that it
Well,
added
even-
something without.
even the sound of the guitars, just unreal.
Yeah,
Like,
that was so often in the studio you sort of start playing stuff live and getting a bit of a bed down, but some people's approach is like, oh, don't worry too much about the guitar tones because we'll fix it later or
Yeah.
something. But Idgie and Luscombe were, because they're really good at, Idgie knows the studio so well, Luscombe's really good with guitars. Straight away we recorded stuff and it was like, yeah, that's actually, let's just keep that.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that makes it a whole lot easier because you're not doing over things over and over again. One of our problems, I think, in the studio in the past has been overthinking things.
Yeah.
And with our type of music, it's the music side of it's fairly simple.
Yeah.
And if you're overthinking it, it loses the energy that it relies upon. And I think it was someone, Roland S. Howard apparently said that, if you don't get something by the second or third take, then don't bother. Which I sort of
right.
agree with our type of music because
You know-
it relies on the precipice between messiness and delivery. And if
Yeah,
you get
right.
it too exact, it loses some of its personality
Yeah.
because that's not us. If you come
Did-
and watch the band live, we're not exacting
Yeah.
virtuosos.
Was there a lot of pre-production? Like, did you do much touring with the material
Not much touring.
or shows?
Well, we played some of the song like Mansfield and Jack. We'd played live,
Yeah.
and that always helps because once you've done that, you know that they work. But what we did do was record the demos instead of just doing them at home like we've probably done previously. We went into this studio in Adelaide called Wundenberg's, and it's actually it's this old incinerator in Theberton, and in the bottom, so it's like it was, and weirdly enough, it was designed by Walter Burley Griffin, the guy who designed Canberra.
Yeah.
So it's like a
right.
neo-Gothic incinerator. And anyway, now it's just
sitting there.
yeah,
What was
sitting.
it?
Well, it's in a junkyard pretty
Yeah,
much.
right.
So it's got all these.
It's right next to a dump and like
Yeah,
a metal scrap, like recycle yard. It's got everything's around.
Yeah, and it's down sort of underground in the base of the incinerator, and it's decked out really well, just with heaps of pictures on the wall. It's very small. It's got Billy Thorpe's old Neve in it, and so we actually put the effort into doing the demos kind of and producing them ourselves. So that made it. That was a good process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck, Adelaide is weird. I know we were talking before, but fuck, it's a weird place.
it's a very weird place, and I think we were talking about this before, but
Yeah.
if you appreciate the weirdness of Adelaide, then you really learn to love her.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I really appreciate, that dark side of Adelaide.
Yeah.
Like, everything there's just a little bit fucked up. Like, and you even have it, like, didn't they figure out who the guy on the beach was?
Yeah.
Somerton
The
man.
Somerton man? Did
Yeah,
they
and
figure out who he was?
Yeah, and the guy, even the way that it was figured out is weird because the guy that was obsessed with finding out in the course of his investigations ended up meeting and marrying the suspected like granddaughter of the Somerton
No
man.
shit.
And then that's how he got the DNA testing. And then that's what finally, and so
Was this after they exhumed him?
no, this is how he got to that. This is how he was the guy that got him exhumed. But
Oh,
before
sorry,
that,
okay.
he was sort of investigating all the potential leads, and this led him to this woman who was potentially his granddaughter. And then they ended up getting married.
Yeah, right.
And I mean,
So did they figure out what the fuck happened? Or was it just like, okay, we know who he is?
not.
They've done-
I think it just turned out that he wasn't a spy or anything like that.
I don't
Yeah.
think they
He
figured
was
out.
just a normal
He
man.
was-
I don't think they figured out the cause of death though yet, did they?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
This was like the scrap of paper, and they were like, "Oh, no,
Yeah,
100%. He's
should,
like a
yeah.
And
communist."
there was like a book found in the back of the
Yeah.
car with a piece ripped out, and then that piece was found in it. I don't know. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, it's just but it's just one of many weird stories come out of, like, particularly Adelaide. Like, you've got that, you've got the family murders, which still, like, that scares me because, like, when I was a kid and got told about the family murders, and they're like, "Oh no, they're still they're still
Oh, yeah.
around."
Yeah, the family murders are my.
We only got one of them.
They're
Have you
my-
listened to the Frozen Lives podcast with Debbie Marshall?
No,
Do it.
Mm.
do it. Is
Really
it?
good one.
It's about a lot about that.
It's about the family.
It's about the family.
Yeah.
This is and most people in the eastern states will hear the family and think of that other.
Oh, the out in
Yeah.
Dandenong with the kids. Yeah.
But this just puts that to shame. It's the best,
Oh.
one of the best true crime mysteries in the world ever.
Well, I just don't understand. So they got whatever his name was that they called
Bevan Spencer von Einem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they called him, and they obviously knew who the other people were. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we suspect like up to
Yeah. So
like,
there's the
dozens, don't they?" To be
well, there's this inner circle of 3. There's the antique clock dealer
Which
And
is
there's-
still operating. That shop is still open.
Yeah.
So right. So they know who they
and the hairdresser who's dead now.
right.
Who's cool. He's able to be named. His name was
And was it his
St.
house?
maybe his house.
On Green Hill Road. But there was also a part of this circle was the premier of the state, Don
State.
Dunstan,
Yeah,
at the
right.
time, seen
Yeah.
at these weird parties that they were throwing at this oddly shaped house on Green Hill Road, which
Yes.
is no longer
Yeah.
there.
So I've done a lot of. Well, we both have gone really deep.
Oh, you've
in this.
gone way more deep than I have, but
So basically, there's so many elements to this story, some of which are actually really interesting, sort of historico-cultural artifacts. But in the 70s, in Adelaide, like other states, there was a big homosexual community in Adelaide, but homosexuality was still illegal.
Legal. Yeah.
And so it was, like anything illegal, it's driven underground. And obviously, within the community, it was also a party scene. The drugs like those what are they, mandrax and all these kind of heavy.
Yeah. Right.
It's
Like
before the
beach
coke
rock.
era,
Sedatives.
but there was a
Yeah.
lot of like that sort of sedative stuff going on. And the way it's been described is there were sort of concentric circles within this party sort of gay community. And, you get to the concentric circles and there's sort of underage parties going on, or like underage men and older men. And that's where sort of Don Dunstan's been there's lots of stories about him sort of having or kids being taken from school and into saunas where he's sitting there and whatnot. And then within that, even within that circle, there was these people that were potentially into like snuff films and really bad stuff.
Yeah.
And like you said, there was a guy called Bevan Spencer von Einem who was eventually arrested for the murder of a boy called Richard Kelvin. And Richard Kelvin was unique because he was the son of the newsreader at the time,
That's right.
Rob Kelvin.
who continued to be a newsreader right up until 10 years ago. And so he was a high-profile disappearance. And so before that, there'd been at least 4 or 5 similar cases where young men had been found. They knew that they'd been held hostage for a while. They knew that they had been sort of tortured and died from kind of blood loss from like nasty blunt force trauma to the anal region and whatnot. But they hadn't really got anywhere. But with von Einem, they managed to pin it on him. And the way they pinned it on him, which was quite clever, they found out that one of those sedatives, like I think it was actually Rohypnol or maybe a similar one like that, was only available on a very restricted prescription.
Yeah. Right.
So the detectives went through all the people in the state that had been prescribed it, and there wasn't many, and cross-checked them against those with sort of criminal records. And von Einem had been picked up 5 years before for sort of abducting a young man.
Right.
And
yeah.
so then they got onto him and, then they did all this stuff. Like they matched like fibers from his rug at home to the
Well,
body
the
and stuff.
body.
But Von Einem,
So crazy.
they
Isn't it?
yeah, they knew that Von Einem couldn't have done it by himself because he was like going to work each day while Richard Kelvin was being kept hostage because they kept him for like 6 weeks.
Jesus fucking
And so,
Christ.
yeah, they knew that there were these other people involved, but Von Einem never talked. And then this is what led to the kind of the myth behind it, or the mythology, is that there was this sort of secret society of lawyers, policemen, doctors, judges, politicians who were protecting him. And it was thought that when his mother died, he was going to speak up because he's kind of in jail and the key's been thrown away, but his mother died and he still hasn't said anything.
Yeah, is he dead yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Nah. And
Jesus.
yeah, it's just the classic sort of, it's a very unique thing to Adelaide because it's a small place. Everyone kind of is only 1 degree of separation away from it all. And so it's kind of had all this rumor around it, like who's involved and
Crazy, isn't it?
it's
At this time, and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there a 6 o'clock curfew at some bars on Hindley Street? And that's where it sort of developed in the
well, I think they
late
still had
60s.
6 o'clock closing.
6 o'clock swill.
What?
And
Yeah.
they would have like
Didn't this
secret
happen
parties.
in the 70s and 80s?
Yeah, that's by the time this was happening, the places were open till late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But yeah.
No, but I thought that was where it maybe developed with that sort of scene of people.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like after hours locked
Probably.
away.
Like, it's a pretty repressed kind of town.
Very repressed.
When you, even now to a degree.
Yeah.
But, like, gee, that's
It's
just
depressed
wild
and
to think.
insular. Like when I moved to Melbourne at 18, I honestly believed from growing up in Adelaide that Adelaide was the equivalent of Melbourne.
Yeah.
And this was kind of, because football was a big part of my life, was kind of based around football. Like, fuck Victoria, kick, state of origin, kick a Vic.
Oh, yeah.
But I
That kick of it.
Yeah. But I honestly,
I still kind of believe in that, by the way.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
going.
I honestly thought that the cities were the same size and the same sort of significance. And then I came over here and after a few weeks, I was like, fuck, I'm not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, well, that was because I grew up in like a town of like 1,500 people.
Yeah.
And like Melbourne was just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. But Adelaide still kind of holds on to that. And it's some people would say it's this sort of hubris because Adelaide was the settlement that wasn't a convict settlement.
Yeah, the free
So they thought of
settlements,
themselves as this kind of elite.
Yeah.
And that has kind
Gone
of
away.
echo, even though Adelaide by no means now is sort of elite on any measures really, but there's still this kind of weird hangover that they know best. And
Yeah. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Like because we were talking about like when it comes into those ads and stuff like that, like local things have been chipped away at so much that I go to Adelaide and I still feel that. Like, even like a couple of years ago, we went there for a wedding.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow.
Barnacle Bills.
I love Barnacle Bills. Do they still have one?
Yeah, there's 3.
Because
there's
three.
I think there's 3 or 4 left in the state.
Yeah, I know there used to be, the last one I went to was in Port Augusta.
There's one in Whyalla,
And-
I think.
And there's one in Whyalla. Yeah, right.
And there's one really close to my house. And then there's one on Anzac Highway. And then that's it.
Barnacle Bills.
And it's fucking shit.
Is it really still
It's not-
shit?
I haven't been there in a while, but it's very basic fish and chips.
And, And Adelaide people still are furious about the Grand Prix.
Oh, yeah. Fucking hey, my fucking uncle is still,
Like, Kennett stole
still
the
pissed
fucking
about
Grand
that.
Prix.
Yeah.
It's been 30 years.
Yeah, it has been, too. Yeah, 'cause-
It was so much better here.
yeah.
I
'cause-
think but
It was better.
Isn't one of the, and you've explained this well in the past, so butt in when you want to, but isn't it sort of based on the way that the city was laid out, and Adelaide was never really allowed to create cultural hubs because of the way that the suburbs.
Yeah, well, I
and
think
urban
that's another
sprawl.
factor is they often say that cultural population density breeds culture.
Mm.
And that's,
yeah,
if you look
right.
at New York or you look at even Melbourne,
Mm.
you have these dense suburbs around the city, which were once where the working class people lived, like Fitzroy, Collingwood, North Melbourne. And you've got a lot of people packed in. Adelaide was designed in such a way that you had this 1 mile square, and then around it you had
parklands.
a square of parklands.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you had the kind of wealthy suburbs next to that. So the working class people were kind of already pushed out.
yeah.
And it's very spread out. In fact, Adelaide occupies like a landmass that's larger than LA, weirdly, from
What?
one end to the other. Yeah, because from north to
That's
south,
quite
it's so
long,
long,
isn't
and
it?
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that stuffs it up a bit. Like I think that it's so spread out that you don't get pockets of young creatives and that
I
kind
never
of
really
thing.
Well, because
thought
it
about
is so
that.
flat as well, it doesn't. I mean, yeah, and you're hemmed in by ocean and hills.
Hills, yeah.
So when Bad Dreams first started, one of the things I tended to gravitate in a creative sense to those outskirts. And one of them in particular, Ben and I sort of started to spend a lot of time at was Port Adelaide, which is the docks.
Yeah.
It's about 30 minutes drive though from the city centre. And it's frozen in like 1960s or 70s.
Yeah,
Like-
it's north of it's
Sort of north,
Yeah.
yeah.
sort of north, yeah.
Northwest,
Yeah,
maybe.
Is there
northwest.
a skate park on the way, like halfway through there?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the skate
And
park.
it's so really, there's just all these old abandoned warehouses and there's pubs down there. Like we went to the one the other week,
Oh, I can't remember what the
Rosemont,
name of that one is.
wasn't it? But yeah, there's pubs down there that are just totally unreconstructed. Like it's
Really?
yeah, like pubs like they used
Used
they
to
should
be.
be.
Yeah,
And yeah, it was just that kind of stuff. And that's what in all of the stuff we do, writing, and this extends beyond just Adelaide to all of Australia. There's so much interesting stuff once you get below that surface of
yeah. Once you scratch it,
yeah, because we've got such a comfortable life here in Australia, like suburbs, beautiful, everyone can live safely, have their patch of, land perhaps, but that's just pretty boring. And
Yeah.
then once you get underneath that to, some things underneath that are sordid and disturbing. For example, like the family murders or in Adelaide, Snowtown, some things are like can be really beautiful and poignant. And I guess in that sense, it's some of the stuff like we learn about Aboriginal culture and history. It's just like this stuff is so much more interesting
yeah,
than a lot of what we get presented,
yeah,
which is like, footy and, the day-to-day white life of Australia. And it's right here, with us, but we just, it's kind of ignored.
yeah. It is ignored a lot.
Mm.
Like, it's interesting. Australians have that weird thing where they won't look at what's right here.
Yeah.
Like we kind of refuse to acknowledge just what great things we have. Like
Yeah.
I even think that with music, like you have so many great bands and the wider community just like, I'm just not interested. Like it's like, how can you not be interested in this stuff?
Yeah.
Like if you even look across the road at the markets there, that's like it's originally was like it's like a the reason why they can't develop part of it is because it was like originally a burial place for the local Aboriginal people, and then it was automatically like when the first white people rocked up, they just kind of as they did took over, and that's where they started burying people as well.
Mm.
So like that's like literally
Wow.
100 meters from here, and you just don't hear about it. Like
Nah.
there's no acknowledgement of it anywhere. Like there's all these things. Like North Melbourne was a slum, and you don't see that acknowledged anywhere. Like that, this is what it was.
Yeah.
that filth.
Yeah.
But does the Adelaide filth influence the way you write?
Of course.
Yeah.
It
But
does.
Adelaide is, because of what we were saying before, the filth, I mean, those less
Explore-
banal parts
Yeah.
are pushed to the outskirts.
Yeah.
And
You feel comfortable there? Do you feel comfortable on those outskirts? What is it?
I mean, I wouldn't say I feel comfortable, but I feel inspired, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I don't feel comfortable in the milieu that I was sort of brought up in either.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't relate to like a lot of that stuff. And I think I was saying this to someone in an interview the other day, and I'm sure you'll relate. I think if you get into music in the way that us and you and all people that work in music but aren't like Taylor Swift, you're not really earning money from it.
Yeah.
You've come there because I believe people gravitate to independent music communities because you've felt an outsider in other parts of life. Like if you're the jock at school that's captain of the footy team and got heaps, all the girls love him and whatever, I don't think you are particularly drawn to going and listening to Joy Division or The Cure.
You're not.
Nah, but if you,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that people that are like that
Don't enjoy it. Yeah.
don't.
No,
yeah,
because
but
there is an element of that within us as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess if you're happy in that role, but if you don't feel part of that sort of mainstream, then music provides a place for those people.
Yeah.
And even within music, there's so many, the hardcore community or the metal community or there's so many subsets where people hopefully can find kinship.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we become so passionate about music, and it's a place we'll never leave because we know the power of it to bring those people together. And I think those people are generally of a similar mindset because they know what it's like to not be perhaps included or to feel part of the mainstream. And so I think that's why powerful stuff can happen, like what's been evidenced with the tote thing.
Yeah.
People, okay, not everyone that donated it may be going to gigs every night of the week still, but there's so many people whose lives have been saved, touched and changed by independent music because it provides a haven and a place outside of sort of what is expected of what is expected or the mainstream.
Yeah. How do you find with how do you find age with music? Because this is something I'm struggling with at the moment. I'm 40 years old, and I'm like, I somehow have that Peter Pan disease.
Yeah.
And I've only just realised how badly I have it. Like I'm still act like I'm 16 in everything I do. But do you both have kids?
No, I've got 2 kids.
You've got 2?
Yeah.
I don't, but I'm 40 as well.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting question. And yeah, it certainly there's certain parts of it that feel a bit less right when you're 40 instead of 21.
Yeah.
But I think
True,
what it does for me is it focuses, I guess over the years, music's become less about the party side of it, which is still good, but it's more difficult to achieve as you get older, and more about, it's helped me focus in on what I actually love about it.
Yeah.
I mean, as you probably know, I've had a weird trajectory where, I'm a surgeon. So for 10, 15 years, I was really torn between these 2 things in my life, one of which was rock and roll and songwriting, one of which was surgical training. And I kept asking myself, why the fuck why the, people would, I'd be going to the hospital and people what, my bosses would be like, why the fuck, or they wouldn't swear. They'd be like, why are you wasting your time doing this? This surgery is a vocation, and, what are you going off and playing all these gigs for?
Yeah.
And of course, that leads yourself to ask the same question of yourself. It's like, why am I doing this? I'm never going to earn money from it.
Yeah.
You put your body through all sorts of hell, you strain your mental health. But as I've got older, I've just realized it's pretty much my reason for being, and it provides me with so much in life in terms of a community, in terms of a perspective on everything, that really you never need to be. And I guess the message what I realized is you never need to be told by people outside music about whether you can or can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I think the age thing, I don't think anyone within the music community cares what anyone's age is.
No.
People in the industry or outside might be like, oh, why are you, going to gigs why are you going out and playing in a band when you're 40? But I don't think anyone within music questions that ever.
No,
and I think so. It doesn't matter. It's just it's what you have to do, what you really believe in.
Yeah, 100%. I think that was the thing. I think when I look at myself as being 40 but feeling 16, and that's how I approach all music and listening to music. It's like everything's new.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I kind of gravitate towards I don't like people that remember when they're like, oh, things were better in 77. It's it's just as good now for me as, because.
And the great thing about having done it or been around it for a long time even without trying, you've learned a whole set of skills, a whole set of lessons, and you've met a whole lot of people where instead of being, when you're young, having these sort of dreams and plans that's hard to fulfill, when you've been around it a long time, just by virtue of staying in the race, you kind of can get wins.
Yeah.
Because, again, like you said, you've been able to, in your case, this amazing quest to save the tote. Like that's 20 plus years of experience.
Yeah.
And as you said before, like you knew the community in Melbourne, and that 20 years experience enabled you to design a plan.
Yeah.
And you can't, I don't think you can really do that when you're 21 years old.
No. You need that experience. Talking of weird things though, do you listen to music during surgery?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
But it has to be, I mean, it's actually been shown research-wise that the performance of an operating theatre improves when there's music on. Because when there's not, there's kind of this weird, awkward silence a lot of the time. So it's actually good to have music on, but it can't be too loud.
Yeah, what kind of music though? This is
that's
fucking now I need to know.
That's the problem. It has to be, I will control it.
Yeah.
Because I can't stand listening to the stuff that just Spotify would spew out if it gets put on, which is like Ed Sheeran or whatever.
Yeah.
And I hate Ed Sheeran. And then the nurses now know that I hate Ed Sheeran, so sometimes they'll put it on. If they're pissed off at me, I'm scrubbed in, they'll put it on.
Yeah.
But so it has to be something that's kind of palatable to everyone in there. And most people in the, so I can't put on like Motorhead or bloody Slayer.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. And so usually it's something, I don't know, I gravitate to stuff like classic Australian rock. Everyone can get around Midnight Oil.
Yep.
The old boiler nurses start remembering the good old days when they went to see Midnight Oil, and some of them hooked up with Barnsey back in the day.
Oh yeah, Barnsey would have been through half the nurses in Adelaide.
Oh yeah, back at Queen Elizabeth in Adelaide, which is in the inner. It's one of the some of the old boilers remembered. Oh yeah, when Barnsey used to come in and have to dry out on the ward and whatnot.
Oh yeah, well I suppose. Yeah.
So sort of that kind of thing.
But that's because I was like in my head, I was like picturing like bloody Hannibal Lecter type fucking, orchestral arrangement, and you're slicing and dicing. And
well, I would like to listen to classical music, but the nurses don't really
get into it.
Nah.
Yeah. Such an interesting day job though. As we're talking about lawyers, I mean, surgeon and guitarist. That's what you should have. You should have a business card with that. Surgeon / guitarist.
It is, it's a strange one. I don't really know how.
But that's a lot of workload. Like between Bad Dreams and being a surgeon, like you guys are pretty busy. Like,
well, yeah.
Does it make touring?
It has I guess like when I was training, it was hard and it limited a little bit what we could do and then but that's why I live out near Bendigo now and work there.
Oh, you're based in
Ravenswood, which
really?
is near.
Oh, I thought you were. Oh shit! You're in Adelaide?
I'm in Adelaide. Yeah.
Oh right, so you kind of like
where me and
really
Miles, who plays drums, live here, and then Ali and Ben live in Adelaide.
Yeah,
but
right.
we're all from Adelaide.
From Adelaide, yeah.
And
does that make writing interesting? What do you do?
It's actually kind of good.
Yeah, it's kind of
there's good separation.
Otherwise, you're not always in each other's presence, and it's like you give it air.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But the reason I'm working out there is because I've got flexibility, which is kind of amazing. So now it's not a problem at all.
Yeah, right.
And we're all lucky that we've kind of massaged our careers into a way that we can not have to worry about money from the band too much, but also have flexibility. Like Ali owns a pub as well, Scenic in Adelaide.
Well, I think
Part owns a pub.
Front, by the way.
Oh, really? Should we?
We'll get
him in.
And Ben now basically works for the band and my label, doing management label type stuff, and then Miles is a designer.
Yeah, right.
So we were kind of lucky from the get go. We kind of most of us had been in bands before and knew that there was no chance of really making an income, and so we decided not to chuck in our jobs, which was a wise decision because it just takes the pressure off.
I had a friend who in the like said in the 90s, he's got asked in an interview. He's really successful. And he goes, they asked him what's the best thing about the Australian music industry. And he goes, everyone has to have a day job.
Yeah.
And I think it's true because I think you get much better songwriting, and I think you get more, because everyone's living a different experience.
I think so. Well, it also, I mean, for me, it's good for mental health. Like I'm just not suited to the life of a full-time musician.
The sex and drugs and rock and roll.
Nah.
How we got on that?
Yeah.
But how do you find having kids and music? Because it's
really
how old are they?
1 and 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
It is?
Yeah. Extremely difficult. Just for my partner when I go away, to have to just hold it down with a full-time job and 2 kids. And it's just, I mean, we make it work and she's really supportive.
Yeah.
And the fact that I am working for the band now kind of changes things a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas I was trying to juggle my own landscape garden company, plus band, plus touring, plus kids. And now it's a bit of the sting is taken out of it.
A 4-year-old though, what do they think of? Do they listen to?
Yeah. She's starting to work it out.
Yeah.
Like daddy goes away for shows.
Yeah.
But
it's, I suppose
we don't. It's not like I've got our YouTube channel running full time on the TV.
If I had kids, I'd be like, here, watch this. Look what I do.
Some of her teachers.
Come over here, Grinch.
Come on in.
Come on in. Some of her teachers at daycare are fans of the band, actually.
Really?
So that makes it funny because I'm gallivanting
strange,
around with a stupid curated mullet.
Yeah.
And then I go and pick
Did you
up.
say a curated mullet?
Yeah. And then
nice.
just trying to do whatever Gareth Lydiard does. Well's he? Been a while. This is Ali.
How you doing? Jane, nice to meet you.
And then I go pick her up from school, and it's just funny.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that she's got teachers that are fans of the band.
1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had to put them on the guest list at times.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, it's lovely.
Enjoy responsibly.
Enjoy responsibly.
I'm looking forward to some pub chat with you guys now.
Pub chat.
Well,
Pub
you know,
chat.
pub.
Yeah,
God.
it's good fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Hey?
When I was walking down the road, I saw a closed pub. Obviously, they're not open yet.
Yeah.
And there's just 2 dudes just sitting over a laptop, just with their hands in their heads, just being like heaps of product on the table, just like, I was like,
Is this the one next door?
Yeah.
They're just about to reopen in like 3 weeks, but they were meant to be open like they've completely developed it like 3 weeks ago. But Leanne was saying she went and had a look in there because it's completely new. It was just it was what we call the early opener. It opened at 6 a.m. for the market people. And yeah, okay. Like these 3 brothers.
Just taking the edge off things.
Yeah, these 3 brothers owned it for like since their father bought it in the 50s, and they're not going to be watching this, so I can say it, but their father owned the local pinball company around the corner on Peel Street, and was like obviously took his proceeds of the pinball company and bought local pubs in the area. That's where he invested his money to hide it.
A lot of people playing pinball.
Yeah, from people that didn't like pinball machines. So it was like the full mafia, and they owned it forever. And now they've put that big thing in, like it's
looking pretty schmick.
It's pretty schmick. Like they've done a big fit out, but he bought $40,000 worth of whiskey this morning, which is
pay
just
the bills.
Mate, 40, and because they're importing, it's going to be like an Irish whiskey bar in the basement, and 40 grand worth of fucking Irish whiskey, and I'm just sitting there going, I'm doomed. I can't work across the road from $40,000 of Irish whiskey and not go over and fucking drink it. So
what's the lowest ebb in a day for the publican? Like when do you hit your lowest point?
11 o'clock to 11 o'clock.
When the septic floods the venue, or the power goes out and others.
No, but I mean on the day-to-day routine, is it that time just before opening when you're like,
That's usually when I'm quite positive.
Oh, you've had
because nothing's happened bad yet.
You've had a few knock-ons.
Yeah, knock-ons are good. They always make the day go a bit better.
yeah, are you a good plumber?
Getting better. Like honestly, I am getting better.
Yeah.
I was chatting to a guy, the plumber that came out the other week, and I was like, I think I should I think I could see myself in this.
Yeah.
Because-
Do you see yourself in it
Yeah.
a lot? Like literally in it. No, yeah, with my plumbing skills, like, I could go, like, I wouldn't need to do an apprenticeship just from like 20 years of being in pubs. I just fucking know, like, oh, this is that.
It's all just glue and plastic.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, if it leaks,
Tighten this,
tighten it. Yeah.
cut that. It's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Yeah, if it's brown, well, put a glove on.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
that's fucking. That's how I,
Put a
yeah,
glove on.
that's how I
Sounds
handle
your
it.
industry.
Yeah, yeah. So pubs in Adelaide,
Hmm.
whereabouts?
Norton Summit, so just up the hills
Yeah, right.
from. It's not far from the city. but
Heaps of what is it? West End Draft? Do
no,
they still make that?
Nah, well, it's
That
made in
big
Melbourne
company
now.
does now.
Yeah,
They shut down that brewery that's turning into an apartment complex. I think it was going to be the Crows, Adelaide Crows home ground, but they went elsewhere.
she looks great now. They've knocked it down.
I think they're keeping the original facade in some capacity, but
So
it's a bit of a shame. A lot of history in that place. Got
Yeah.
a tour through it at one point after we ripped off their logo twice.
oh, that's right. You did too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot about that. It's good,
They had no
good logo
problem
to
with
rip off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of loved it. We're a bit disappointed they flopped because we thought we were single-handedly reviving the brand, but
But we used to try and buy it here because the one thing that we did sell a lot of was fucking emu export,
yeah,
Yeah,
and like bogues. So
okay,
lots of Western Australia. Like for a while here in Melbourne, it seemed like everyone was from Western Australia.
Yeah.
And so as soon as we got like emu export in, people were just like fucking unreal. But I think it's Lion Nathan own West End now.
yeah.
And I think we're forever trying to buy like cans of West End in because just people from Adelaide are like, can you get West End? I'm like, yeah, I think we can.
Mm.
But
it's not a great beer.
It's not a great beer.
Hey,
It's
cold on tap
It's
is
just
fine.
beer.
Is it?
Yeah,
It's just beer.
Yeah, I think I've only.
you got the questions under the cap.
yeah, it's pretty much.
I'm in.
Yeah, it's. Oh, they do the questions. under
Who won the
cap.
1993 State of Origin? You know,
Mm.
stuff like that.
Jesus, who did win the
Oh, I dunno.
1993 State of Origin?
Probably Victoria.
Oh yeah, shit. Sorry, I'm from New South Wales, so I think of that.
Oh,
Think
no,
of
no.
Queensland, New
Well,
South
they
Wales.
are
So-
doing that in Adelaide again this year, which I might try and get. We should try and go
Are
to
they?
that. Yeah, have an Origin match, game one, I think.
Yeah, right. I haven't watched one game of rugby league all year. I've kind of skipped it.
Yeah, right.
But- Yeah, it's probably not a bad thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't need that in my life. But yeah, fucking hell. So yeah, publican. Fuck, I feel for you, man.
Yeah,
We can have mutual sympathies all day.
yeah. It's been a good couple of weeks
Yeah,
in a bad way.
in a bad way.
Nah, it's all good. It's all
do
good.
you do music in there or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, not like every night, but yeah, try to.
try to.
Yeah, large format gigs more. Ben books the large format stuff for us.
Yeah, right.
when I
and
pull
then
my finger out.
How many cap you got?
Outdoors,
400.
yeah, we did about
450.
450. Was that
Outside?
Had floodlights play there, mini skirt, split system, Twine. Who else?
Dr. Piffle and the
Dr.
Burlap
Piffle
Band.
and the
Chats.
Burlap Band. The Chats.
Yeah,
Oh, awesome.
Pissed Idiots,
Bad
Press Club,
Dreams.
Bad Dreams.
cheapers. When you say it like that, it sounds like we're
Yeah.
mildly. It sounds like we're
That's fucking
mildly
That's
successful.
like, yeah, that's really.
Too bad,
It's
yeah.
not a music venue.
It's not.
No, it's
like
meant to be we just do small,
Gigs.
find someone we like
put them on.
and try and get them in, try and
Yeah.
make it work. None of the gigs ever make heaps of money.
Yeah.
But because you do it outside, there's a lot of stuff you got to bring in.
Yep.
So it's not like a space that you would have normally. You got to everything gets shipped in.
Yeah.
Marquees, PAs, sound
The whole
system,
lot.
sound guides, security, fencing, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. But it's good
Yeah.
when
Well,
it happens.
I think, my cousin does the one that puts on Down South.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, we
yeah,
played
Maxi.
that.
Yeah. And like, they've
Daybed Records.
Hey?
No. The
No,
one
that
in
was the
Port
one
Fairy.
in-
Oh,
Like
yeah,
Port
in
Fairy.
Boy, sorry,
Yeah. Which,
yeah, what was that about the Doona?
Oh, for some reason, where you guys played, he sent me on the Monday or the Tuesday. He's like, you got to go pick up a doona from where Bad Dreams was staying. I'm like, what?
I have zero idea what this means.
Yeah. And it's still sitting.
nodding.
No, I do remember this. I remember someone had to pick up a doona.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah. It's still sitting in my car. Like, literally, because when we were down there, we did Down
Who took
South.
their own Doona?
No, he.
No, I don't know whose doona it is. I don't know if it belongs to you or you
No, I
borrowed it
don't
off
think it's-
Max.
yeah.
Or I don't
Doesn't-
know. And I've been too stupid to ask him to go, why do I still have this fucking doona sitting in the back of my car?
Great festival, by the way.
He does it. It's pretty
Civic
good.
played, Coffin
Yeah.
played. It was real good.
I ended up fucking drunk.
Were you there?
I was there.
Watching us?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I had a bit of a
There
shock.
was a bit of an edge of violence at that. It was pretty a bit hectic that gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think.
There were a few fights.
Well, I missed all them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a Port Fairy's such a weird
I
spot.
was going to ask you what it is. Because is it like sort of a coastal elite type place where
It is.
rich people go for holidays?
is.
Like James Brayshaw and stuff?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
You've pretty much nailed it. So obviously my family's from there. My mother's family. They've been there since literally they were like, I think my
Got off the boat there.
Yeah, my great-great-grandfather was the first white baby born down there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they've been there forever.
Yeah.
But somehow in like here we go, interesting this thing. So the guy that owns the Corner Hotel, he's from there. His father was the local real estate agent. And he went through and like bought up all the properties in the 80s and like sold them on to all these rich people that started buying everything up and made a fucking mozza off selling these homes. And now it's like just a tourist town. Like,
Classic stitcher.
It is a beautiful
Yeah.
little
He
spot.
sold the
town.
town up the river, didn't he?
he did, but then he was the one that just kind of kicked it off.
Yeah.
And then the locals got in on it. And there was a few families that made millions of dollars just building houses and just selling them as, But I think I was talking to someone down there and they were saying that over 60% of the houses are empty for like
in winter.
Yeah, like the whole time.
Yeah.
They're just empty. So we when after the festival, we went and counted how many lights were on.
Robbed them all.
We should have. But yeah, and there was it was like 1 in 8 houses really had a light on.
Yeah, we've got our own version of that in SA, down Victor Hayborough, Port Elliot Way. It's maybe less of that.
Is that the
Flurio?
Flurio
Yeah, Peninsula.
Yeah.
It is nice down there.
You know whose hood around Port Fairy is Auntie Tracy. You know that
From Koroit.
she's this. Yeah, she that group did a song about a joyride. Auntie Tracy's cookies. You heard about this woman?
No.
She'd be about 60s. Loves.
Hold on.
Late 50s.
Late 50s.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to go higher. What? 75 at least.
Oh, born in the 60s.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That still makes her 60. No, but lovely woman, massive music fan. And she'll come to Melbourne to shows and I think lives in Koroit there, but she's renowned for bringing edibles.
Auntie Tracy.
Yeah,
Wow.
and beware the young
Beware the
man
edible?
who delves into those edibles without some conservative measures because they are strong.
And
Yeah, right.
fun.
And fun.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, how have I never heard about this?
Auntie Tracy's Cookies, that's the
Tracy's
song by
Cookies.
Joyride, I think. And she basically bakes up a storm.
Yep.
And as a non
Storm.
stoner, really, it's hard, but as a guy who loves unhealthy food, I'm very torn because these things look so nice to eat.
Yeah, you can't.
But I know that if I indulge, I'll have psychosis in minutes.
Yeah. I'm the same. And this is the thing at the moment. Everyone's making edibles.
Yeah.
And
So the last time I just gave them to Civic and I said, oh no, they're fine, pretty weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
They seemed okay the next day.
We didn't see them, did we?
Yeah, saw them the next morning.
Oh.
Wow. I never knew about this and now I've got to find out more.
Yeah.
Just
She's
Croydon's a crazy town.
We played there.
Yeah, we played there
with floodlights.
Oh,
It
this
on
this
the
Small
tour.
town, big sound.
Yeah.
small town? But yeah, I
Owned by
remember.
Jack Parsons.
Yeah, this was that wasn't that long ago, was it?
Oh, it's a couple of years.
2021.
2021?
On the
Yeah.
sort of that little
Mid lockdown.
Yeah.
that little crack in lockdown.
It was actually awesome, and what Parso did a great job, and then obviously he did the tour up to Arnhem with us. He does the Guts thing.
Was
as
that
well.
the Guts thing?
Yeah, so Guts is like I guess expanded version or similar thing, but on a much larger scale. Like we
Yeah.
did the leg in Arnhem, but then he did legs with other bands all through rural SA, Vic, and New South Wales.
Yeah, that's a great initiative. Yeah.
Yeah, but doing that thing just made us realise like there's 10, 15 places that we should be playing in, even in Victoria.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think
like
the regional gigs are fucking super important for bands.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, like
Which just blow my mind because that just doesn't exist in Adelaide. Like, if you go and play in like Port Pirie,
Yeah.
there probably wouldn't be a stage anywhere in the city.
You're going to have to lug a PA.
B would get beaten up.
Yeah, I don't know
and
who
you
the
get
fuck
beaten
would be going to a gig in Port Pirie. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe a couple of people, but
Yeah, but then you kind of get that, yeah.
Yeah, but Koroit was awesome. Point Lonsdale was awesome. San Remo, really good.
Rye.
Rye, awesome.
Rygo's been
Yeah, the Ninch.
The Ninch,
Yeah, the Ninch is
fucking insane.
Yeah, everyone from there is
Yeah.
a crazy legend.
Do you have you got more planned to do more regional touring then? Because I think when I think of regional touring, I think particularly since pandemic, it's always you guys always pop up.
Well, yeah, that's what we decided. We hadn't done enough of it, and after doing that, we're like, oh, hang on, we should be doing more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so later in the year, hopefully, and like just places like even Darwin, and they're hard to get to and whatnot, but still awesome.
It is a bit of a slog,
Yeah.
to be honest, but it's always worth it.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to the private function guys and they did Darwin for the first
Yeah, I
time.
saw that.
And they
Railway
just
Club.
went, this is just, you've got to,
Yeah.
it was the most,
Were they at the Railway Club?
I think
yeah,
so.
they said it
it's
was
a good,
the
great
best gig,
venue.
best gig they've ever played. And they said they'll be, from now on, every tour they do will include.
Yeah,
Darwin.
they'd love.
Because you could do
Yeah.
that, go up to Darwin, then play in Catherine, and then
Yeah.
you could do a few shows up there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've always, because I worked in mining towns for a lot. And when a band would rock up,
Oh yeah,
it was just like fucking insane. Like not, like particularly like this is in the early 2000s. You know, fucking they went off. Like,
Yeah.
you know, no one would know the band.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I saw a band from Melbourne called Sheriff were there, and then Barnsey came up and did one. And that went
Oh, God.
fucking in Port Hedland.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I didn't even get into the show. But I was fucking like outside the doors, and you could just hear the crowd over him. Just
Barnsey in a mining town.
Hey, you
Oh,
know, Bud Helen.
yeah, pretty much. But
Hey,
yeah,
fucking yeah.
yeah. I imagine. Is there any government support to go do that shit now?
Oh yeah,
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 there
lots.
is?
Yeah.
Shoot the bastards. They should be paying us to go do it.
Just got to put in the grants, I guess.
Yeah, we got a
Yeah.
we got a bit of a
Yeah,
grant.
heaps of grants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're good. I mean,
That was like when
regional stuff's getting pushed.
we toured with Francisco the Man in the UK
US.
for the first time.
Oh,
No,
UK, yeah.
yeah, a band from California, and we told them we got some money from grants, and these American bands just were like, "Sorry, what?" But actually didn't.
the government gives you money to go on tour, so
Yeah,
it's an
no.
export grant.
And they're like,
Yeah.
Sorry, what? What? Sorry, don't it's grant. So, what? Why? Like almost broke their brains.
There's a guy called Grant that's giving you money. What?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
SA actually
they
has
dole
had
out
been
some good
amazing
ones.
with support of
Yeah.
arts. Like when we got this, talking of Port Pirie, do you know that the manager of the Bee Gees, Robert Stigwood, came from Port Pirie?
I did not know that.
Really?
Yeah. And they,
Jesus. Sorry if I was
He would have
bashing
made a
Port
bloody
Pirie
killing,
before.
wouldn't he?
Yeah, and he did. He because he went over there and he sort of started off with as Epstein's right hand man with the Beatles, and then he did the Bee Gees. And
Jesus.
yeah, so we were lucky enough. They did this thing called the Robert Stigwood Fellowship, which was a bit of a grant for a year and some help with stuff. And yeah, us and TK Mainster got it the first year. And so yeah, I mean, SA government and has supported music really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I give the Victorian government a heap of shit all the time, but they do like state governments do a great job
Yeah.
of supporting music.
There's so
Yeah.
many more bands here, though. There's the competition for the grants.
The
would be-
competition's
The
insane.
competition's harder over
Yeah.
here, but it's I mean, you look at all the good festivals and even all the acts that are doing really well, like they're all getting there's good grant
Yeah.
support of all of those, and so there
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah. No, I particularly do like even though we go down south because it's a family thing, I really enjoy going to do it. Like even going to Geelong, and they'll do River Rocks and things like that, and Negative Waves or Jerk Fest and things
Yeah.
like that. They're fucking great.
Oh, there's such a disparity between the megaplex festivals,
yeah.
and the ones that are actually legit, like
Like Ninch Fest.
Ninch
Yeah.
Fest, Boogie.
Well, Ninch Fest is finished.
They're done.
Oh,
They're done. Yeah, this year was the last year.
bugger.
It's
Oh, rest in
tragedy.
peace.
Yeah,
We were lucky to play
Everyone
then.
got COVID.
I guess everyone got
But yeah,
COVID.
those things, there's just nothing.
Backstage,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
There's just nothing better.
Real
than
bummer,
the vibe.
eh?
Real bummer that COVID. Is there anything else that we should talk about? Is there any more dead people in Adelaide?
Heaps.
Heaps.
Fucking heaps.
Yeah. Well, fuck, actually, where is the cemetery in Adelaide? Is that central?
Smack bang in the centre.
You know
It
how
is,
there's a
isn't
ring
it?
of parklands around the
Yeah,
city?
that
One,
is-
one on the west side is a cemetery.
No shit.
Yeah.
I kind of remember, like, always
Huge
forget.
waste of
That's where
space.
Yeah.
the
Huge waste of space.
Somerton man was. He was in
Oh.
that cemetery.
Oh, so
After
he's
he got-
still in there.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
you-
where
well-
they exhumed him from. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I still can't get over that they figured out who the fuck he was. Wasn't he from Melbourne? Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I actually feel I trumpet my knowledge of Adelaide true crime, and I feel ashamed that I haven't got the right answers to the
But-
updates on that story. So
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to go. They're going to have to figure out how the fuck it happened.
yeah,
It's too well. Didn't the father of the what were the children that disappeared?
Beaumont
The,
kids.
Beaumonts.
the
Oh,
Beaumonts. He died recently as well. I think.
Yeah, he died
He
recently.
passed,
There was
yeah.
a development in that not long ago, maybe like 4 years ago, where they thought they'd found remains as well in like a factory work site.
Jeez.
And they
Dug
did
it
this
up,
like full
nothing.
nothing. Yeah, they had
Oh,
like
yeah.
probes going into the ground and like
Was this in like a salvage yard or something?
yeah, something like,
Yeah.
like that. It was
Yeah.
big news. It was like they were doing like live coverage the whole day, and it was like, what the fuck's going on? Looking for
And
updates, and then
nothing.
nothing. I'm like, damn it.
It's a fucking twisted place.
Mm.
Well, everyone should go out and buy Hoo Ha and not just refer to it as Hoo Ha.
Ooh.
Hoo Ha. But no, it's a great album, guys, and I
Thanks, Shane.
only listened through to it once, just because I've literally listened through it once and had no more time because you walked in 10 minutes after I finished listening to it.
You've been
But
busy. You got
It's it is fucking great, and I really appreciate you coming in and talking to us. And I suppose you guys are on tour until when?
Oh, we're doing this record store thing.
Yeah.
For the next week, and then our main tour is
Late June.
June 30th, Corner Hotel.
June 24th, Corner Hotel, isn't it?
Jesus Christ.
Well, Leanne took the
So
t-shirt.
23rd in Adelaide, 24th in Melbourne, then the weekend after. It's
Yeah,
a small,
sorry, yeah.
small
Yeah.
run, and then we'll do some regional
So
stuff.
the
Awesome.
Melbourne shows with Children Collide,
Dr. Shaw's
Dr.
Unusual
Shaw's.
Practice.
and Doe Street.
Oh, massive!
Yeah.
Yeah, good line.
Yeah.
lineup,
I think
Corner
Doe
Hotel.
Street had a new album come out
Yeah,
recently
just
as well.
on Thursday.
Yeah, so fucking that's a banging lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Have you found who are you playing with in Adelaide?
Twine, Cable Ties, and Children Collide.
Oh Jesus Christ! You got another banging lineup.
Yeah, we like to.
We don't
like to
fuck
stack
around.
it.
You're not fucking around at all. Like
We
that.
try not to.
Jesus. Well, if you which camera am I looking at? Make sure you go see Bad Dreams, but definitely go buy this album because it is really good. I think it was it Newbury's was the one that just I went, holy shit, that's fucking unreal. But the whole thing,
Love
great. Yeah. Shame. That was a good one. Because I thought you were talking to me. But yeah, great album. Thank you.
Thanks for everything you've done for the music community.
um,
Amazing. Save the totes. Very inspiring.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get that over the line. We're hoping at some point we're going to be able to make an announcement.
This is sick.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I still haven't used it.
Oh,
I only just but obviously the people from Twatek just built it and were like, here,
what's the sound?
don't know yet. That's what I'm going to find
Lo-fi.
out. Yeah,
Just play. It sounds like money.
yeah,
Dollar,
yeah.
dollar sign. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great. Yeah, so we're really super impressed and just overwhelmed with someone would do that. And I'm not sure whether I think I should go buy another one so I can just keep this one.
Yeah, it needs to be hung on the wall.
Yeah, because I'll definitely destroy.
we go
it in 10
for-
seconds.
Bum, bum,
Bum,
bum,
ba-dum,
bum,
bum,
bum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum. Sex
Bum,
and
bum,
drugs
bum,
and rock
bum,
and roll.
This has been the Last Chance podcast. Don't forget to do what Gaz says is like and subscribe. This has been the Last Chance podcast with Bad Dreams. Thanks for listening. Fucking hell. Thanks, guys.